Welcome to Now UTOKing, which is a new series which consists of a series of videos that define keywords in the UTOK system. Today, we are looking at the concept of ego and persona. In the last video, we defined the self and specified what we meant in relationship to the experiential or primate self. This refers to the fact that we both have a witness function and a felt sense of being in the world that we extend outward, both in relationship to the environment in general and especially in relationship to the social world. Today, we're talking about the fact that in addition to being primates, we're also persons. When we make on that comment, we can ask, well, what is a person? A person refers to the capacity to self-reflect and justify oneself on the social stage. And when we have that definition in mind, we can actually then specify what is meant by both the ego and the persona. So the ego is an internal personal narrative that an individual is able to generate in relationship to reflecting on oneself. To differentiate it from the experiential self, imagine someone who feels a bit socially awkward enters into a party where they don't know anyone else. The perceptions of other people and the felt sense of being the odd man out will activate the experiential or primate self and feel awkward, experience low relational value, feeling a sense of uncertainty. Then the individual may start to narrate what's going on. They may say, hey, this sucks, I shouldn't have come. Oh, there's Julie over there. Maybe I'll go say hi. Wait a minute, she's talking to somebody else. I bet other people think I look pretty awkward here. All of that self-reflective propositional narrative is part of what the ego is generating as it reflects on the experiential self. In relationship to that, we can also note that the individual is imagining what other people are thinking. This moves us into the persona. The term persona refers to a mask, and what we're really referring to is the public-facing aspect of our consciousness. So what we're dealing with in relationship to navigating the culture-person plane of existence is both generating a justified sense of being, that's really the core of the ego, and managing one's justified self in the culture-person plane. That's the persona. The persona then is regulating one's roles and the expectations and reputations that one has relative to what others' judgments are. We can think about this a little bit if we frame it in Martin Buber's term of an I-me relationship. That's sort of the ego and the experiential self, and an I-thou relationship, which would be the ego through the persona into the other and back again. So we can look at these different domains, and we can also think about their relation in terms of filtration. That is, there's a filtering process between the private ego and the public self, as well as between the experiential self and the ego. The relationship between the private self and the public self is pretty available to most of us. You can get a sense of what this is if you imagine that everyone in the world instantaneously knew all your private thoughts. If that activates a little bit of anxiety, that's because you actually filter what you share. When you put a lock on a diary or engage in a confidential process with your therapist, all of those are designed to filter out particular kinds of information from certain audiences. Well, that's a private to public filtration system. Interestingly, there's also a filtration system between your ego and your experiential self. Indeed, that's the work of much Freudian psychoanalysis, is to explore the un- and subconscious experiential self relative to the egoic conscious self and how it represses and rationalizes. We'll explore this more later when we talk about justification systems and the updated tripartite model in depth. So, to summarize, we can clarify the relationship of the human self-consciousness system in three different domains. One is the core primate experiential self, gives rise to a witness function, and navigates one's relationship to the environment, especially the social environment, through perception, motivation, and emotional feelings. The influence matrix maps key aspects of that. Then, as humans who could talk, we developed the capacity for self-conscious reflection, which created a pressure to justify ourselves and to others. The ego evolves as a mental organ of justification, and it enables us to then regulate our persona, the social mask. The combination of the experiential self, the ego, and the persona give rise to a map of the self-consciousness system. The ego and the persona are the ways in which we navigate the culture-person plane of existence, and that will be our topic next time on UTOKing, where we define culture.